funny, I see people who look like they are all over in various locales. Really interesting to see, really nice to see. Some people sitting outside, some people in their kitchens, some in their living rooms, and a whole bunch of us with these banners that we made behind us. So nice to see everybody. Really wonderful to see familiar faces who I've had in my classes and I've had the pleasure of getting to know over the years, and really nice to see their families here as well. I do only wish that we could have you here in person, that we could welcome you in person, but alas, this is the world that we are living in. But I wouldn't, still very exciting for all of us and exciting to all of you, and congratulations to all of you. My name is Jeffrey Weidlinger, and I'm the director of the Frankel Center for Judaic Studies here at the University of Michigan. And it gives me great pleasure to congratulate all of you on your accomplishments, to congratulate your family and friends who are here with you, or who are across the world or across the country somewhere with you and observing with you and here with you in spirit, and to celebrate this ending of your time at Michigan and a new beginning for all of you in whatever direction the world takes you. Please note the ceremony is being recorded. Folks will be muted for the entirety of the event until it's been ended. And at that point, when we're done the official ceremony, there's going to be an opportunity to stay on and everyone will be unmuted. And then we're going to put you in, well, we're going to open up breakout rooms. You'll have the opportunity to go in those breakout rooms and congratulate people and talk to some of the professors. And it's going to be a whole lot of fun. So stay for the end for that. We also encourage you to use the chat feature throughout to post notes of congratulations to our graduates throughout the ceremony. Closed captioning is available, and you can activate or hide this at the bottom of your screen. We have the pleasure today of honoring 30 Judaic Studies graduates, 4 graduate certificates, 7 majors, and 19 minors. Along with Judaic Studies as a major or minor, our students are also double majoring in various fields, or just majoring in various fields, minoring Judaic Studies, including psychology, neuroscience, history, art and design, political science, microbiology, and economics. And we are really excited to have such a diverse group of students with us. You also plan a variety of career paths. Some of you are going into law, some in education, some in medical school, business, or Jewish community organizations and finance. And again, congratulations to all of you. You have bright futures ahead of you that we look forward to seeing, and we look forward to hearing from you. You know, I've been doing for about 1.5 years, I've been part of this movement to read a page of the Talmud every day. I'm currently reading a tractate in the Talmud called Yomah, which is all about the elaborate preparations that took place in temple times before the Day of Atonement, or Yom Kippur, the one day a year when the high priest was required to briefly enter the Holy of Holies, the inner sanctum of the temple where the Ark of the Covenant is stored. If you've ever seen the movie Raiders of the Lost Ark, when the Nazi's face melts as he comes into contact with the Ark, you know what can happen if the high priest gets this moment wrong, this one moment for the entire year when he's in contact with the Holy of Holies. And I've been reading this tractate and thinking about what we're all going through right now. The rabbis planned in extraordinary detail how this moment was going to go down. And they account for all types of contingencies that can happen at this one moment. They even attach a rope to the high priest, just in case he dies when he's in the Holy of Holies. They'll be able to pull him out with the rope so that nobody actually has to go in. And as the tractate that I'm reading begins, the rabbis are discussing the possibility of having a second wife ready for the high priest. You see, the high priest has to be married, and they worry about the contingency of what happens if his wife dies in the moment that he's in the Holy of Holies. What are they going to do? So they decide they're going to have a second wife ready for him. And then another rabbi says, well, then we need a third wife, because what happens if the second wife dies? We need a whole row of wives. And then finally, one of the rabbis interjects in the discussion and says, In ken ein ledavar sof. Enough. If we plan for that, then there's no end to it. In other words, you just can't plan for every contingency. Yiddish has an expression for that too. Man tracht und Gott lacht. People plan and God laughs. Now, I know that many of you have been planning for this moment your entire lives, studying in grade school to get into the college of your choice, meticulously mapping out your course schedules to meet all of LSA's distribution requirements, making plans for celebrating commencement weekend with your families and friends at the big house. You probably backpacked additional courses at some point just in case you couldn't get into the section you really needed. Or you may have planned for contingencies, imagined alternate scenarios in case it rains on commencement day. But I doubt any of you planned for what we've been going through the last 18 months. Your perseverance and resilience in the face of the obstacles you've faced makes your achievements all the more remarkable and impressive. And I truly mean that. I mean, teaching this semester and last semester, and even the semester before, and just seeing what you guys have gone through and the way that you've managed it with grace and with resilience and still achieved what you've achieved is really impressive. In fact, there's one thing that we've all learned during this period, and it's that you can't plan for every contingency. Im ken ein ledavar sof. If you do, there's just no end to it. But what we subsequently learn in the same tractate in Talmud Yoman, actually, I just read this yesterday in my daily daf, in my daily reading of a page of Talmud, and it's true for us as well, is that we can navigate unexpected situations with the help of knowledge and with the help of trusted mentors. And it's my hope that your experiences at the Frankel Center have given you both, that we've given you some knowledge and we've given you some trusted mentors and friends with whom you can navigate difficult circumstances when they come your way. And with these tools, you can change the world because, as the Talmud also teaches, knowledge leads to action. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce the Associate Director of the Frankel Center for Judaic Studies, Shachar Pinsker, who will have some additional remarks. Shachar?
Okay, thank you very much, Jeff. Can everybody hear me? Yeah. Okay, thank you. So my name is Shachar Pinsker. I'm a professor of Middle East Studies and Judaic Studies, and I'm the Associate Director of the Frankel Center. And dear families and friends, and most of all, you, the graduates, I'm so happy to see you today celebrating with us. On behalf of the Frankel Center faculty, many of them are here with us today, I want to send you all-hearted congratulations. Mazal tov, mazel tov. Receiving your degree is a significant milestone and a cause for celebration. It's a joyous occasion, in spite of all the problems that we have. You will soon see later on in the program the names of the students who obtained the BA degree with the major or minor in Judaic Studies, as well as the PhD with Judaic Studies graduate certificate. What an impressive group. You all worked hard to get to this day and accomplished so much along the way. I am sure that you will take what you've learned at the University of Michigan and at the Frankel Center for Judaic Studies, both inside and outside the classroom, and use it productively in many ways in years to come. Today is also an opportunity for us to pause and reflect on what does it mean to graduate. And since we are celebrating your Judaic Studies graduation, I'm going to take a cue from what Jeff started with a little bit of a drash and ask, is there a Jewish way to think about graduation? And I've been thinking a lot about it in the last few days. Of course, in English, especially in American English, when using the word graduation, we really mean, regarding people like you, it has come to mean a person at the end of the studies. But think for a moment about the root of the word. It comes from gradual, a slow progression of moving from grade to grade. And I believe this meaning is maybe close to a Jewish concept of graduation. In fact, when you think about it, in Jewish language such as Hebrew, which many of you have studied, the word graduation doesn't really exist. Instead, there is a similar word and a Jewish ceremony called siyum in Hebrew or siyem in Yiddish. Traditionally, people hold such ceremony upon the completion of study of a tractate of the Mishnah and the Talmud, the classic rabbinic text at the heart of Jewish culture. What is interesting is that while American graduation ceremonies usually celebrate the journey and accomplishment of the past, Siyum celebrate the journeys of the future. The Siyum is marked by reciting the Hadran prayer, which conveys a promise to ourselves and to the book that we just completed. Here is the prayer's beautiful words in Aramaic. Hadran alach masechet vehadran alan. Da'atan alach masechet ודעתן alan. לא ניטשי מנח מסכת ולא תיטשי מינן. לא בעלמא הדן ולא בעלמא דעתי. In English translation, we will return to you, O tractate, and you will return to us. A mind is on you, O tractate, and your mind is on us. We will not forget you, O tractate, and you will not forget us, not in this world and not in the world to come. So completing a study of a Jewish text, and this is true, I suggest, even for an entire college degree, doesn't mean that we are done with study or with work. We mark the occasion with joy, but we promise not to forget it and to return to it later. So I think that the message of the Siyum and the Hadran is quite powerful. Life is an ongoing journey, a slow progression in which there are no beginnings and ends. Moreover, in the Jewish calendar, we are actually in the midst of a period of graduation, precisely in this meaning of a slow progression. During Sfirat HaOmer, Jews count the 49 days between the holiday of Pesach, Passover, and Shavuot. And today, this very day that we are celebrating is Lag BaOmer, a holiday marking the 33rd day of counting the Omer. According to Kabbalistic tradition, this day marks the day on which Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, a Mishnaic sage of the 2nd century, revealed the deepest secret of the Kabbalah in the form of the Zohar, the Book of Splendor, which is a landmark text in Jewish mysticism. So this is a very special day to have a graduation, and I'm glad that we are doing it today. But in what sense? So if Passover commemorates the freedom from Egypt and from slavery, then Shavuot reenacts a collective moment of Sinai, where the 10 commandments were given. According to the Hebrew Bible, when the Israelites left Egypt, there were some who thought of crossing the Red Sea as a graduation of sorts from slavery. But in fact, they had a very long way to go, first to Mount Sinai and then beyond. So today, on Lag BaOmer, as we mark you and your significant achievement, we also count the days as we graduate our way towards Shavuot at Sinai. In other words, while we pause to reflect on the achievement of the past, we must look forward to the future. Your graduation is a foundational pillar to the personal and collective dreams and aspirations of all of us. You all know very well that there is so much work to do in the world, so many challenges, so many problems to solve. With your talents and the skills you acquired here, and with continuing work and study, you are in a perfect position to tackle them. And so, as we wish all of you and your families congratulations, a mazal tov, we also wish you a wholehearted good luck, be'atzlacha, on your continuing journey of growth, Michael El Chail, from strength to strength. So again, congratulations, everybody. And we are going to move now to mark some awards of our students. And we have a couple of such awards. The first award is an Outstanding Yiddish Award, and I am very happy to invite the Yiddish instructor, Elena Lucina, who will introduce the recipient of this Outstanding Yiddish Award, Rachel Levy. So Elena, please.
Thank you. Rachel Levy graduated with a BA in Sociology of Health and Medicine and a minor in Judaic Studies from University of Michigan in 2020. And she's currently a student in the Jewish Communal Leadership Program, class of 2022. Throughout the year, Rachel demonstrated consistent effort and great commitment to Yiddish that has been contagious for everyone in the classroom, as well as her friends that were also drawn into Yiddish because of her interest. And she mastered level appropriate knowledge of the lexicon, grammar, and cultural concepts through full engagement with the material. And she also gives very interesting creative ideas and feedback to me and everyone in the classroom. She always goes above and beyond, locates related material on her own, comes up with more ideas. And just to give a few examples, for her final project last year, she translated a poem by Anna Margolin called Autumn, aiming to balance the written rhymes and alliterations in her translation into English. And as part of her project, she presented the translation and explained exactly all of her translation choices. And she also presented a beautiful painting as a creative interpretation of the poem. And another remark, she came up with the idea of the creative program we did as a group this semester. So Rachel, thank you so much for being part of our beautiful community and even more importantly, building it. That's it.
Okay, thank you very much. And congratulations to Rachel. The next award that we're going to present is the Outstanding Undergraduate Award. And the recipient of the award is Miriam Saperstan. And I invite Professor Davy Mays to come and present the award to Miriam. So Davy, please.
Right. Thank you. It's a great pleasure and honor for me to present the award for Outstanding Undergraduate Student to Miriam Saperstein, who is a Judaic Studies major. I had the pleasure of teaching Miriam, and they are absolutely brilliant. They brought a level of creativity and humor to the class environment, combined Judaic studies material with other areas of interest. And as Elena said in regard to Rachel, went above and beyond my expectations in all aspects of the course. And this is a sentiment that I had, but also an experience that other faculty who've had the pleasure of working with Miriam have experienced. They are deeply intellectually curious. They're thoughtful and astute as a writer, thinker, and researcher. And they are really just brilliant in how they approach knowledge, the attainment of knowledge, and what Judaic studies means for them both in the classroom and out of the classroom. So Miriam, congratulations, you have truly earned this.
Hi. I've been asked to unmute, so I think it's my time to give my speech. Thank you so much, Professor Mays. That was really kind of you to say. I just wanted to start by saying Mazel Tov to the class of 2021, and also to thank all of university staff and faculty who make this department possible, whether through cleaning the classrooms, arranging schedules, or teaching courses, all the labor that goes into making this happen. And I'll start by sharing a story from the beginning of my undergraduate experience so you can see what led me to become a Judaic Studies major. So at freshman orientation, after I described my course selection to a peer advisor, they adamantly insisted that no, I should not sign up for 3 400 level classes as a first semester freshman. They finally talked me down to just one, which was Professor Neese's history colloquium called Body and the Senses Before Modernity. I showed up to my first ever college class incredibly early, interrogating the seniors in Mason Hall about what they were learning and reading. That course subsequently led me to reinvestigate everything I thought I knew about how Jews today and in late antiquity related to their bodies, including their conceptions of gender and empire. I'm also a writer, and I started the class hoping to learn enough context about past Jews to write better midrash, filling in the gaps to questions that canonical Jewish texts avoid or leave fuzzy. I wanted to understand whether people described in these texts as women ever formed partnerships with other people described as women and how they talked about their bodies. And I wanted their own words. So Professor Neese very kindly informed me after I had done some research that unfortunately I would have to uncover a new pottery shard or geniza of buried text if I wanted definitive answers of that sort. But they did encourage me to still write and still ask the questions. They were the first of many professors throughout undergrad, and especially in this department, who encouraged my creativity and question asking, bringing me texts that open up different ways of understanding who Jews are and how Jewishness has changed. I stopped looking to the canon for authoritative answers that justified my existence and rather began to approach them as clues to understanding how other Jews dealt with their questions and how they were influenced by the power dynamics in and around their communities. As I learned about historical power dynamics through Judaic studies, I had better context to understand the community spaces I was part of in the present. I became more adept at recognizing the potent colonialism and anti-Black racism that shaped all facets of American life, including American Jewish communal spaces and universities. As I learned, I chose to leave Jewish spaces on campus that could not be a home for me politically and spiritually, instead turning to my Judaic studies classes for context and sources that helped me shape my own ritual spaces on campus. Those rituals led to a group that met every Rosh Chodesh, or new month, gathering in co-op basements and community members' backyards for potlucks and lots of singing. The Rosh Chodesh group became a joyful reminder of my responsibility to use my learning to build community, to share my knowledge access with others, to be open to adaptation and learning myself. Together, the Rosh Chodesh group built a space for art and Jewish ritual in multiple languages, which really kept me going during difficult semesters. So as we go out from undergrad, I know that we've already started practicing the unlearning necessary to build a more just future. I've seen it happening in and out of the classroom, and I cannot thank my teachers enough for bringing those life-giving sources and facilitation to this process. While I don't believe this just future includes institutions such as universities that are founded on land theft and perpetual war, I do believe sincerely that there is learning in the future, really challenging learning as sustenance and responsibility. I am so grateful to my Judaic Studies professors for giving me the skills to learn the things I need to be a part of building that future. May we all go from strength to strength.
Thank you, Miriam, and congratulations to you, both on the award and on graduation, and for giving us such thoughtful remarks and so much to think about, and using this as an opportunity to give us some learning as well. So congratulations, and again, to all of you. At this point, we are going to turn to the giving of the graduate certificates, so to speak. In normal life, you would be coming up and I would be handing you a certificate, but we're going to be doing it remotely this time. So we have a slideshow with everybody's names and photos, and I will read through the names of those who are graduating and pretend that I'm handing you a certificate. So again, congratulations. By the way, on the website that we linked to in the chat at the very beginning of the chat, if you go to that website, you can see the complete names of everybody who's graduating. You can also download the Zoom background that some of us have, and you can use that for whatever you'd like to use it for, as well as there's a recipe there from our caterer, Amanda Fisher, for spinach and feta burritos that are absolutely delicious and that we would be serving you if we could. So congratulations to our graduates. So I will begin then with the class of, what happened there? With class of 2021 graduate certificates. Congratulations to Lauren Benjamin, who is completing a Doctor of Philosophy in Comparative Literature and English Language and Literature, as well as a graduate certificate in Judaic Studies. Dory Fox, who is completing a Doctor of Philosophy in English Language and Literature and a graduate certificate in Judaic Studies. And Dory was also the recipient of the Marshall Weinberg Prize in 2018. Next, Yeshua Toll, who is completing Doctor of Philosophy in English Language and Literature and graduate certificate in Judaic Studies, and plans on a postdoctoral fellowship at DePauw University next year. And Sam Schumann, who is completing his Doctor of Philosophy in Anthropology and graduate certificate in Judaic Studies, was a Marshall Weinberg graduate student recipient in 2020, and next year will hold the Rabin Shvidler postdoc in Jewish Studies at Fordham and Columbia Universities in New York. So congratulations to our graduate students who are completing their PhDs, our 4 graduate students who have completed their PhDs. I'll now move on to our majors, those who have completed the Judaic Studies undergraduate major. Beginning with Marie Patipati, who's completed a Bachelor of Arts in Judaic Studies and Sociology and is graduating with honors in Judaic Studies. Marie was the Outstanding Yiddish Student Award recipient in 2020 and plans on attending graduate school and pursuing her PhD and JD and continuing to work in research. Next is Allison Bloomberg, who is completing a Bachelor of Arts in Judaic Studies with a Hebrew subplan and psychology, as well as a minor in community action and social change. Allison has been a Judaic Studies student ambassador for the fall 2020 semester and plans on applying to 2-year fellowships in Jewish nonprofit fields. So congratulations. Next is Ariel Lowenstern, who is completing a Bachelor of Arts in Judaic Studies in History of Art, as well as a Bachelor of Arts in Art and Design from the Stamp School. So congratulations. Next is Brian Price. Brian is completing a Bachelor of Arts in Judaic Studies and Ancient Middle Eastern Studies, as well as a minor in Community Action and Social Change. He's thinking through what comes next, perhaps may attend graduate school in the future, but would first like to take several gap years, which is a great idea. I think we can all use some gap years right now. Next is Miriam Saperstein, who you have heard from already, who's completing a Bachelor of Arts in Judaic Studies and a minor in Creative Nonfiction. Miriam was the 2021 Outstanding Undergraduate Student Award recipient, as you've just heard, and they'll be working with the History Department on the Michigan in the World project in the future. And in fall 2021, they're beginning graduate school for a Master's in Library Science at Wayne State University, right down the street in Detroit. Next is Jason Samaya, who is completing a Bachelor of Arts in Judaic Studies with a Hebrew subplan, as well as degrees in history, political science with honors, and Middle East and North African studies. And Jason will be attending law school in the future. Congratulations. And finally, among our majors is Lauren Silva, who is completing a Bachelor of Arts in Judaic Studies and Economics and plans on working at a Jewish nonprofit, synagogue, or other consulting firm. So congratulations to all of our Judaic Studies majors. It's really been an absolute pleasure working with you, and we look forward to all of your success in the future. And now I'll move on to our minors, those who have done a minor with the Frankel Center for Judaic Studies. Beginning with Stephen Baer, who's completing a Bachelor of Arts in Sociology and a minor in Judaic Studies, and plans on taking a gap year and then applying to law school. And next is Molly Copley, who's completing a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology and Linguistics, as well as a minor in Judaic Studies, and plans to participate in the Masa Israel Teaching Fellow Program in the future. Next is Vanessa Friedman, who's completing a Bachelor of Science in Neuroscience and a minor in Judaic Studies, and is hoping to attend medical school. Next is Samantha Herman, who is completing a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology and is doing a double minor in Judaic Studies and Crime and Justice. Next is Rebecca Levy, who's completing a Bachelor of Arts in Cognitive Science and a minor in Judaic Studies, and will be a product manager at US Bank in the Global Treasury Management Department. Next is Sophie Mittman, who is completing a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology and a double minor in Judaic Studies and Crime and Justice. Next is Elena Nugent, who is completing a Bachelor of Arts in History and a minor in Judaic Studies, and will be pursuing a Master's in Educational Studies at the University of Michigan School of Education. Next is Iomid Akunade, who is completing a Bachelor of Science in Biomolecular Sciences and a double minor in Judaic Studies and Law and Justice and Social Change, and will be taking a gap year in Atlanta, Georgia to pursue creative arts passions. So congratulations. Next is Alexandra Popkov, who's completing a Bachelor of Science in Microbiology and a double minor in Judaic Studies and Creative Writing, and was student ambassador in winter 2022, fall 2020, and winter 2021 terms for us. Alexandra plans to take a gap year and work in a hospital while applying to graduate programs in immunology and microbiology, and hopes to go into academia and have her own research lab in the future, as we all hope she will as well. Next is Noah Rubenstein. Noah's completing his Bachelor in Business Administration and a minor in Judaic Studies, and will be working for Amazon Web Services in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. Next is Eliana Schreier, who's completing a Bachelor of Arts in Sociology, Law, Justice, and Social Change, and a minor in Judaic Studies, and will be going on to George Washington University, also in Washington, D.C., for a master's in elementary education. Next is Nikki Schultz, who is completing a Bachelor of Arts in Communication and Media and a minor in Judaic Studies. Next is Allison Siegel, who's completing a Bachelor of Science in Industrial and Operations Engineering and a minor in Judaic Studies, and will be working as a management consulting associate at PricewaterhouseCoopers in New York City. And next is Ilana Weinfeld, who's completing a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology and a minor in Judaic Studies, and plans on attending graduate school to receive a doctorate in occupational therapy. Next is Hannah Wolfson, who is, well, I guess for all of them, I keep saying is completing, but actually has completed a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science and Spanish, as well as a minor in Judaic Studies. And next is Ainsley Woodward, who completed a Bachelor of Science in Biopsychology, Cognition, and Neuroscience, as well as a minor in Judaic Studies, and plans on attending the University of Michigan School of Dentistry for a MS in Oral Health Sciences. Next is Ilana Young, who completed a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics and a minor in Judaic Studies, and will be a middle office analyst at HedgeServe in Dallas, Texas. Next is Josh Zach, who's completing a Bachelor of Arts in Economics and a minor in Judaic Studies, and will be working at Burns & Wilcox in Chicago. And finally, Matthew Zenny, who has completed a Bachelor of Arts in Economics, a minor in Judaic Studies, and will be attending graduate school at the University of Michigan's Master of Accounting program. So maybe if we can, congratulations to everybody, go blue. And if we can end the screen share to put everybody back on. And maybe now at this point, if I can also ask everybody, if you're comfortable doing so, to show yourself, to reveal yourself, turn on your camera. And congratulations once again to everybody. I want to thank all of the faculty for making this possible, all of the parents and family and friends who have come to celebrate with you, and the Judaic Studies Center staff, particularly our Student Services Coordinator, Sarah Kuljan, who joined us over a year ago, and I still have never met in person, but has been a fantastic resource for our students this past year and has really helped our students manage during these difficult times, and I think has made everybody feel at home and helped us plan this graduation ceremony. So Sarah, thank you so much, and really wonderful job on everything. And also, I want to especially acknowledge Kelsey Robinette Keeves, our events coordinator, whose actually last day on the job just happens to be today. She's going to be moving over across campus to the Office for the Vice President of Research, where she'll be doing communications for them. So Kelsey, it's really been absolutely wonderful working with you these last few years and seeing you. And we wish you all of the utmost success, which I'm sure you will have in your future job ahead. So thank you. And thank you also to Sherry Thompson and Mary Wessel Walker, the rest of our Frankel Center staff. And again, to all of our faculty for showing up, to Shachar Pinsker, our Associate Director, for managing the rest of this ceremony, and to everybody who participated.